I was able to come back thanks to Shohei.
Known as one of the most dominant power pitchers in Major League Baseball, Gerrit Cole has long been the unquestioned ace of the New York Yankees. Armed with a blazing fastball that tops 100 miles per hour, he once captured the Cy Young Award in a unanimous vote, proving himself as one of baseball's elite. Now, after a long silence and a long road back to the mound, the miracle gift he received from Ohtani is touching fans all across Japan.
Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe.
The ace has returned to the mound.
Today, the reason I was able to make it back to this mound is because Shohei created the blueprint first. Those words stunned many reporters, because Gerrit Cole is a man who has carried the pride and pressure of being the ace of the New York Yankees for years. And the person he was talking about? None other than Shohei Ohtani, the superstar at the center of the Los Angeles Dodgers. That defeated the Yankees in the World Series. Normally, that would be the last player you'd want to praise, the one you most desperately want to beat, the one you can't help but measure yourself against. And yet, Cole openly expressed deep gratitude toward Ohtani. Behind those words was a devastating injury so serious that Gerrit Cole reportedly even began preparing himself for the possibility of retirement. It all started after a spring training outing when he felt discomfort in his right elbow. At first, maybe he thought it was just normal soreness, just another part of being a pitcher. But this felt completely different from the usual fatigue. A disturbing pain shooting through his arm the moment he released the ball. A right arm that wouldn't rise the way it used to. And even when he put everything into a pitch, it felt like the ball had lost its life. Cole, one of the greatest pitchers in Major League Baseball, realized something was seriously wrong with his body. After undergoing detailed medical examinations, the words the doctors gave him were almost unbearable for a pitcher to hear. Severe ligament damage in his right elbow, and the possibility that he would need Tommy John surgery. It was the kind of diagnosis that could change, or even define, the rest of a pitcher's career.
The despair that made him think about retirement.
For Gerrit Cole, this wasn't a diagnosis he could simply accept overnight. He was already in his mid-30s. A younger pitcher might be able to undergo surgery and spend a year and a half, maybe even 2 years, fighting to make a comeback. But for a veteran pitcher, a long absence can effectively mean the end of a career. And on top of that, he wasn't just any player, he was the ace of the New York Yankees, a franchise where winning isn't optional. In New York, every single game comes with pressure and expectations. And suddenly, the man who had stood at the center of all of it was ripped away from the mound. For the first time in his life, Gerrit Cole was forced to live as an ace who couldn't pitch. Up until then, no matter how difficult the situation was, he had always found answers on the mound. When the pressure mounted, he raised his level. When critics doubted him, he silenced them in his next start. That was who he was. That was how he lived. But this time was different. No matter how strong his determination was, his arm wouldn't respond. No matter how badly he wanted to win, he couldn't even step onto the mound. And that reality slowly pushed Cole into a very dark place, emotionally. But what proved even more brutal was the rehabilitation waiting for him after surgery. Coming back from Tommy John surgery is not some beautiful sports movie story. If anything, most of it is lonely, repetitive, exhausting, and painful. In the early stages, pitchers can't even hold a baseball properly. Their arm movements are heavily restricted, and recovery begins with slowly regaining basic range of motion little by little. A man who once threw 100-mile-per-hour fastballs suddenly has to start with something as simple as bending and straightening his elbow. Of course, frustration starts to build. You turn on the TV, and your teammates are out there battling on the field. The roar of the crowd echoes through Yankee Stadium. Fans demand victories every single night. But you're not there. As the rehab progressed, another kind of suffering began to creep in. Even after returning to the bullpen, he couldn't throw the way he used to. The velocity wasn't coming back. The command wasn't there. His body was supposedly healing, but mentally, he still felt stuck. The same power pitcher who once overpowered major league hitters with pure dominance was now fighting in a place no fans could see, just to hold on to his baseball career.
Ohtani became the living proof of Tommy John recovery.
There was one piece of information connected to Shohei Ohtani that would ultimately change the course of Gerrit Cole's future. Terrified by the possibility of retirement and drowning in despair, Cole was presented with one life-changing option. He was introduced to the clinic of Dr. Neil Elatrich in Los Angeles. Widely regarded as one of the greatest elbow specialists in modern MLB history. Ironically, this was the very team doctor of the Los Angeles Dodgers. The same organization that had crushed the Yankees on the World Series stage. And more importantly, he was the legendary doctor who stood at the very center of Shohei Ohtani's incredible recoveries. Twice. The doctor who performed Shohei Ohtani's surgery during the 2023 offseason. Clinging to hope, Gerrit Cole traveled to California to meet Dr. Neil Elatrich, and there, the legendary surgeon presented him with a shocking proposal. One that challenged conventional baseball medicine. It was the use of a cutting-edge hybrid surgical procedure. At the time, many doctors were still cautious about it, because long-term medical data was extremely limited. The baseball world simply didn't have enough proven cases yet. But behind this bold and unprecedented decision was one incredibly valuable source of data left behind by a true pioneer, Shohei Ohtani himself. Back in 2018, during his first surgery, Ohtani underwent the traditional Tommy John procedure using a tendon graft from his own body. But in August 2023, he injured the ligament in his right elbow once again. After deep consideration, Ohtani chose a new approach. Along with the reconstructed tendon, reinforced the ligament with high-strength fiber tape anchored into the bone. A groundbreaking technique known as the internal brace. However, even after undergoing surgery performed at the highest level of modern sports medicine, an unexpected complication occurred during Shohei Ohtani's recovery process. As Ohtani carefully resumed his throwing rehab, doctors discovered overstretching in the newly reconstructed ligament. A dangerous issue caused by excessive strain before the ligament had fully bonded with the bone. In other words, the stress of throwing came too early and too aggressively, forcing doctors to later perform additional reinforcement procedures. Every painful step of Ohtani's recovery, every moment of trial and error, every real-time clinical detail after surgery, all of it was carefully documented by his lead physician, Dr. Neil Elatrich. And for Gerrit Cole, who would undergo the same procedure shortly afterward, those records became something priceless. A living blueprint for survival. Ohtani returned too aggressively and overstretched the ligament, which forced additional reinforcement later on. So for you, we're going to make sure that never happens. We'll build the brace perfectly from the very beginning, stronger and more secure from day one. The moment he heard those words from the doctor, a powerful mix of shock and hope rushed through Gerrit Cole's mind. If Shohei Ohtani had not undergone that groundbreaking procedure himself in 2023, if he hadn't gone through the recovery process in real time and provided actual results with his own body, then there would have been no clear answer for how aggressively Cole's elbow should be stabilized during his second surgery, or exactly when and how the reinforcement should be applied. The living medical data Ohtani left behind through his own suffering. For a pitcher who had already begun preparing himself for retirement, it became something invaluable. It became a miracle gift. And then, the day of his return finally arrived. Gerrit Cole stepped onto the mound once again, wearing the uniform of the New York Yankees. After an unbelievably long rehabilitation journey, he had finally made it back to the major league stage. And with every single pitch he threw, you could feel the pain, struggle, and determination behind it. The ace had returned. And when fans saw him standing on that mound again, that's exactly what they felt. The road to recovery that Shohei Ohtani helped carve out, and the man who followed that path back to the mound, Gerrit Cole. The next time these two face each other, it will mean far more than just another baseball game. Because only those who have suffered through devastating injuries truly understand the pain. And only those who have fought their way back understand the loneliness of recovery. This will be the ultimate stage where the man who created the blueprint and the man who was saved by it finally collided. And when that moment comes, Major League Baseball may witness yet another unforgettable chapter in its history.
Thanks for watching all the way through. What did you think? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us as we continue to follow Shohei Ohtani's incredible journey. See you in the next one.